One of the most popular tripod heads in real estate photography is the Manfrotto 410 Junior geared tripod head. But I think I found something not only better, but cheaper as well. I've previously reviewed a tripod head from Sunwayfoto, the Epic EB36, an outstanding little lightweight ball head that I really liked. So I decided to reach out to the folks there and see if they had something that might be a better solution than my old 410 head. Turns out they did. This is the GH-PRO II geared tripod head. I should mention, they were nice enough to send one out to me to check out. However, this video is not sponsored by Sunwayfoto in any way. They had zero input on this video, nor did they even see it before its release. So let's touch on a few of the issues that I have with the Manfrotto 410. To rotate or tilt or pan this head, you have these large knobs here. They work fine at first, but over time, they actually start getting kind of gummed up in these areas here, and you can sometimes actually hear a bit of a crunching sound as I guess dirt or dust gets in those hinges. Now, if you need to move or rotate this head quickly, you have these rings here that you twist, and then you can move it much quicker. However, there's an issue with that. Occasionally, in particular this tilt one here, you can turn that knob to get it in place, but then all of a sudden, it's like it's off its gears and you have to turn for a minute and it will slowly, there it went, thunk back into place. But you try that again. There we go, and if you listen closely, you hear that? It's just something that really kind of bothers me. One of the other issues we have here is with where the positioning of the top plate is. If you can see here, it's actually offset from where the center of the head is. So if you're trying to do things like panoramas or something, it's never going to be very accurate because as you move, your camera will actually move forward or move back depending on where you're turning it. And then speaking of that top plate, this thing is enormous. It's some proprietary Manfrotto plate. You turn it like that to get the plate out, which you have a secondary button on that lever as well that you have to push in, and then that plate will come off. Now I shoot with mirrorless cameras, so I have no need for this enormous plate. Plus, I like all my tripod heads to be Arca Swiss. Now you can get a conversion kit that will take this to an Arca Swiss plate, and I think it will actually relocate it as well back over the center of the tripod head. I think it costs around $100, and I'll have a link below where you can pick one up. So if you really like the 410, you can get that kit. And if you want Arca Swiss, it might be worthy for you to pick it up. Plus, this thing is just really heavy. Now let's take a look at the GH-PRO II and how it solves most of the issues that I have with this particular head. So on the GH-PRO II, we have these dials here that take care of our movement. Now, what the GH-PRO doesn't have that the 410 had were those little rings where you could turn it and then quickly move it. But they've come up with a pretty interesting solution to that. They have these flip out knobs here, and you can just very quickly wind the head. It's not as quick as using the rings on the 410, but to be perfectly honest, it's more than fast enough for me when I'm on a shoot. Plus, you may also notice two knobs for movement because they got rid of the knob that you used for panning the head. What they've done is they've just put a little lever in here that you loosen up, and then you just manually rotate the head as you need. One interesting note is that there's a lot of dampening in that particular movement. So even if you were shooting video, you could really smoothly pan this head. You can do that at the base of the head. You can also do that here at the top of the head where the plate goes in. Just turn that knob and then you can rotate that top part. In my use of the head, I haven't had any issue with the gears or the area behind the knobs getting gummed up. The knobs turn super smoothly on this head as opposed to the 410 where over time the knobs were turning evenly, but then when you got to a certain position, it would get very difficult to turn, and then all of a sudden loosen up again to turn. The mounting plate is directly overhead the center of the tripod head, so you have no issues if you want to do a panorama with this. We have what I like, which is the Arca Swiss mount at the top. Now you will also notice that the only bubble level you have is actually under where the plate goes. So, I mean, you can get it level before you put your camera on, but otherwise it doesn't serve a whole lot of purpose. Me personally, I use the levels that are built into my camera, so I don't really have a lot of need for the bubble level anyways. Let's talk about weight for a second. Even though the GH-PRO II has an all-metal build quality versus the combination of metal and plastic on the Manfrotto head, it's actually not only smaller, but it's actually much lighter. 1.4 pounds for this one versus 2.7 for the Manfrotto head. That's almost a full pound lighter. And when you're rushing through a listing to get in and out of there in about an hour, which is about the max that you really should spend at a listing, every single pound counts. Not only do I feel that the GH-PRO II is superior to the 410 in just about every way, it also only costs $266 versus $290 for the Manfrotto head. I took this head out with me on a shoot of a historic home in Petersburg, Virginia, and it performed flawlessly. It has an all-metal build quality. The gears turn more smoothly and evenly than the 410 ever did, even brand new, fresh out of the box. It's so much lighter, and it definitely has become my go-to tripod head when I'm doing real estate shoots. I hope you found this little look at the GH-PRO II useful. If you've got any questions about this head, just let me know in the comments below. And while you're there, maybe consider liking this video or maybe even subscribing so you can be informed when I put out new stuff. I really do appreciate you taking the time to watch. Have a good one.